Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend and had a happy Money Monday. It is September 15th. We're going to review the 0 day option say I took on SPY. Sad Money Monday for me today, actually. I missed the morning, but let's get into it. Gap up, gap trap sometimes. We also have interest rate decision this week, so market is not in a hurry to go anywhere. Just grinding around, low volume, low liquidity. Small range. Today's range was like 1 point again. At least yesterday or from Friday's range had that nice sell-off end today. Today's was just there was a couple moves. Super frustrating for me. It's a pretty bad day. Moves is a tight range, but there were still some nice moves that could be had. We'll get into it. Yep. Yeah, so I missed this morning. I didn't show up until like 11 around here. So it hadn't came in and started charting purple, gold, had white, and not sure if I would have taken any trades here. Probably not. Yeah. Oh, I guess there was a cup there. I didn't even notice that. A little handle. Might have grabbed that, but that's such a small trade. This range was deadly. Yeah, it was pretty ugly. So I didn't have this white. I never put this white one in up here. Or I didn't until later. So didn't have that. Put in this red one, which ended up being looking legit, as well as my green here. And so that's how I found my first wedge. Found support. Broke the red, which was bullish for me. And I think this might have actually been my first trade. No, it wasn't. Oh, maybe it was on the big account. I don't even want big account. I'm too red on the big account. It's like, it's what I can make back in a day, but it's not like an average green day for me, unfortunately. So that kind of sucks. First one might have been on here. Why is that so far down there? Give me a little bit of room. Wow. Okay. So yeah. I mean, the structure's not great, but inverse head, shoulder. On the 30-minute, we're just up here grinding around. Long ways from 5-day. I'd imagine we're kind of pinned up against top of daily Bollinger. But yeah, so came up here, started bouncing on this red, showing its support. So I'm thinking I'm gonna look for an entry then to go long. Profit targets will be cup close, top of green, and if I can get a nice entry, red or potentially even green for my stop. So it comes down. Where was that first one? Whipsaw it in here. Yeah, I wasn't looking at Eric's charts or anything at this point. Yeah, so I got calls right here. So based on what I just told you. So I got them here. It came down. I was like, all right, it might want to make a little inverse head here and potentially a VWAP bounce, even though my green is here. This is pretty much my stop. So I let it do this and it kind of bounced up above there. I'm like, all right, it looks good. It was looking all right. And where did I stop out on this thing? 46. Yeah, 3 contrasts and SPX, sorry. And then it was for like high day, basically, was a strike. Okay, this one actually I did stop out. Dang, yeah, I got whipsawed in here. I was vulnerable to, I got caught over trading a little bit too, and then it's like, gosh, damn. So after that red candle, it did close below the red, which was my stop, or this green. And so I closed it there. And then, of course, it bounced up a little bit, which was fine. I was fine to stop out there. What ensued after that kind of sucked. Yeah, because then I flipped. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I got back into calls. So it bounced. I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's still good. There's just a little stop hunt and a retest on VWAP. So I got back in on 48 on this candle for calls. And then hop back out for a small loss at 53. Right there, yeah. So after this candle closed below the white, which was the kind of the more aggressive buying, below my green, and then also back into this red. So on this candle, I closed it. That was kind of frustrating. Indeed. Down there, yeah, okay. And no, so I stopped on that one. Couple red trades, kind of annoying. Of course, I had the inflection point right. I just had the direction wrong, so I wasn't able to emotionally, mentally take the short there, take the puts, even though it was a nice little break on green. Just because of, yeah, my mental capacity being maxed out right there. So yeah, could have taken puts there. I don't think I did. Well, no, I didn't. Just frustrated, so I just stopped, which is typical. Kind of completed this inverse cup right here, but this also could be an inverse head with your shoulder up here, so I wasn't completely counting that out. It's either one or the other to me. On the small account then, I hadn't done any trades. It was a fresh account. I'm like, all right, cool. I consider getting calls here, honestly. And I was actually bummed I didn't get calls here because I just missed these puts even though I saw it. It's just because I was dancing around with calls there. But this was a nice bounce on green right here, which was, I pulled from this resistance up here, and then it also found supports here, so it looks pretty confirmed. This bounce on it is rallied. I'm like, oh, I should have gotten calls there, thinking this inverse head potentially. At least it'd be just a retracement trade. It did end up being just a retracement trade because it kept coming down. So it was fine I didn't get it, but whatever. I did get puts then though. So looking at it now, it's like, yeah, it was just a VWAP. VWAP for resistance could have worked. Really, it'd be the top of this would be my stop. I mean, it doesn't have to be if I'm entering here, but if it retraced all the way to here, then it'd be a more straightforward retracement or zooming trade or whatever. But to me, retracing right to here, it's not as straightforward. And so when I get into something like this, I need to change it and just think of my horizontal structure or my horizontal lines for stops, and not necessarily like these purple or more aggressive selling, if that makes sense. So I'm pretty sure I had this and I threw this in here. Actually, I put it right there. Yeah. So it hit VWAP. I'm like, all right, nice shoulder, little head, inverse cup. Here's our handle, breaking green. I got in literally on that candle. So, middle of the day, low volume, like range is really tight. It's a Monday, just, yeah. So got in here, came up, like, man, it's breaking purple. This was a little further because it's on that wick. Came up, like, dang. This one opened down here, or no, this one opened up here. Came up, well, it flushed down and then came up, ended up closing down here, but at one point, of course, this candle was green and way up here. And I stopped out of this one. I was like, I can't, because, yeah, I should have been looking at this tiny bit of liquidity here and just said this will be my stop if it grabs back in here. And if I'm looking for that, that also helps me with my entries, even though I usually like to wait for the first channel break for the entry or a clear resistance. And to me, this red, I'm looking at it now like, yeah, VWAP also, but yeah, I mean, it very well could have just kept bouncing and coming all the way back up to here. So yeah, it was that one wick right there that stopped me out on the puts. Otherwise, that would have been a nice trade. The low of day was definitely my target. I would have made it. Yeah, I would have closed there. So this happens to me. This happens to me a little too often. I need to kind of sort that out. And for my stops, because if it's at a clear resistance, like, great, yeah, okay, here, and this is my resistance, or this is my stop. But it's kind of in the middle of the range there. I need to look at if I don't have a more proper selling channel, or yeah, because then, like, it did kind of respect this purple, but it wicked out of it and then it went down. It actually closed above it, but anyways, missed that trade and I was bummed. That was 58 cents, 52. And then, let's see, got puts on here at 145. Yeah, so then it completed the inverse cup, the big one. Started bouncing up, and I have this in my head a little bit, like it might not make it all the way even to here. It very well could stop at VWAP, could stop even sooner. So I almost got in sooner. I'm like, I should just wait, at least wait for maybe this white to break. But then it pulled so far away from it. I'm like, well, probably shouldn't wait for that. I got in here. So yeah, it was a VWAP. This time I decided, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use VWAP as my resistance. So this wasn't too bad. I got in there, it was pretty clear. Green candle above it, I stopped out. Yeah, 45 to 51. I think I stopped right there. Oh no, I held that one. Oh yeah, I stopped out up here. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I opened here, and then this was the top of my red right here. So I'm like, I was gonna actually stop on this break of VWAP, right? But the problem was this candle was immediate. It was like here, and then it immediately went up to here. I'm like, well, yeah. So I guess I could have. I was actually gonna stop when it grabbed that liquidity, like it didn't do here, but it immediately just ripped through VWAP. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm close enough to this one. I'll just let it check on this one. Comes up there, and then I close it out in this little red candle on the retest. But at this point, I didn't have this white line here, and that would have definitely saved me some trouble. I could have charted in. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just wasn't being diligent enough about charting. Oftentimes, like, this isn't necessarily an algo that's showing up this late in the day, especially like this flat. That could kind of be misleading, but I think this actually was one. Because when I glanced over at Eric's by day trading on YouTube, he had that one. After I put this in there, I'm like, I looked at Eric's, I'm like, oh, he already had that one, and he probably had it for a while. So that was kind of a big bummer. Came up there, and then I'm like, all right, this, you know, this is, yeah, now this would have been a great entry if I'd seen this, especially definitely here once it's grabbing that shoulder. Great risk to reward because your stop's a white, you're at the top of a wedge and the top of this channel. I don't even know. Yeah. Got into calls. I flipped to calls. Yeah, once it broke that, that's right. Yeah, I got whipsawed in here. As you can see, yeah, so I thought it was breaking here. Your big inverse head and shoulder grab here. I didn't have that white yet, so flip into calls and then stomped out of those. 150. What? I held them that long. 51 to 203. Oh, I guess that's not too bad. Yeah. Once I came back in here, started to grab that shoulder and broke back into that red, I closed it. So, a little anxious today. I'd say, yeah. Yeah, but then I just kind of was over trading, unfortunately. Let's see, 209. Where's the next one over here? Yeah, all right. So this trade I was the most confident in and looked the best, and so I actually wanted to size up for it. And I felt clear enough, like, to be able to, I guess. You know, I feel like I can reset usually pretty quickly because my size isn't like too big where it's just totally incapacitating my mental capacity. Does that make sense? Does that work? Yeah. So 209. I was into puts on both small and big account actually. So small and big, 209 and 210. So that was, yeah, it was unfortunately way down this candle, as you can imagine after all that, and then putting that white in and seeing I totally missed a great entry there. I was looking for a better entry, but it just didn't really give it. So I put this purple in. I'm like, well, I get on a little retrace, and I didn't get it like at the low here. I got it actually pretty high up. So I was like, I'll just kind of hold purple for my stop. Potentially, I guess. Or even potentially the top of here, but this head and shoulders look nice. It was the top of the channel. Yeah, it completed the inverse cups. There's a big handle. Yeah, a lot of reasons this looked nice. I did get them both on here, and it flushed down. I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, you know what? I still actually didn't have that white in there. I didn't. I just saw this head and shoulders, and I'm like, I just knew I was missing something. That's why I was able to break out and then come back in so easily. So I had them both. Came down here. I mean, my profit target, my small account, you know it's low a day. Like, perfect inverse cup and handle. But this thing was just such a tight range and so slow and grindy. Yeah. 210. So started dance around down here, and then I'm like, then I am checking. I'm like, what's going on? Maybe there's another channel. I check Eric's, and that's when I noticed actually he had this resistance in here, but at that point he didn't have the parallel support for some reason. I don't know why, but he only had the resistance. I always put him in his parallels, and I think typically he does too. But he only put the top line in and didn't have the resistance or support down here. So once I put that in and saw that, well, first of all, it was hitting here, and then it started hitting here. Let's see, where was that on mine? Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's after that hit that. It would have helped a lot earlier though, up here when it happened, as you can see here. Yeah, because it bounced there. Where's I going with that? Wait a minute. Oh no, it's up here. That's right. So yeah, right here, because this is where I was holding those puts. I'm like, why is it pausing? Why is it stalling out here? And then I look on his. That's when I started looking on his, and that's his blue. So it's still in his wedge right here. And so then I'm starting to think, oh shoot, I should close this. I think I'd already gotten more on the big account, so I was pretty scaled in, but I was green. I was up like 20% on it, and yeah, it was just these candles were whipping me like 20% from like not zero, but it was like if I caught it like a nice slippage exit, it would have been good. But I wanted to hold it till low a day, and then it just starts rallying back up, and I'm looking at Eric's chart, and it's like it's still in his wedge. I'm like, shoot, man. So probably shouldn't have looked at his chart. I don't know, but not his fault. It just kind of threw me off. Even though like it made sense on his, like he had this magenta then also was rejecting, so I was kind of looking for that too, but I'm like, I don't want to grind all the way up here. So yeah, I just ended up closing it for a break even, that one, even though that would have definitely helped. And then low of day would have been a nice green day today on the small account. Big account, I did take some profit here because I had like 5 or 6 of them, and then I think I break even stopped on the rest. So ended up being a small winner on that one too. But that was the trade. That was like the only trade, and I just poorly managed it. I don't know. Yeah, I was just being greedy today. You know, I just like wanted the big move. Lack of patience to just stack in small gains. So 209, yeah, and then filled one. So 25 cents on one contract. Such an ugly fill. And then I just stopped out of the rest. Unfortunate, man. Yep. And then a couple more stops on there. On the small account, let's see, 210 to 25. Yeah, one more red trade on the small account, 229, 233. Oh yeah. Yeah, so actually I tried to get back in here because I was like, it had just broken Eric's wedge on this 229 candle, and that's when I looked for this white. I'm like, of course, then I'm opening up puts on support, which he hadn't. This is the time he hadn't had this line right here. I don't know why. He only had the resistance, and I put it in here. I'm like, oh crap! I literally just opened puts on this support. Such a wedgy, tight range, choppy day. It's like, so yeah. Then of course it breaks purple, and I just jumped out. So didn't catch that move down either. You can see it just kind of starts to spiral a little bit. But if you don't have clear stops and clear risks, then it's better just not even get in. If you do, just get out. So, yeah, jumped in there, noticed that, oh crap, I'm at a potential. And if it's selling in this, I just don't want it. It's got to be more aggressive than that for 0 days. So, jumped out of that one. Yeah, had like one trade in here and today it was a loss. Anyways, kind of a crappy day, man. I'm just, yeah. There was good setups, and I just didn't play it right. This one was probably the most annoying this stopped me out. And this one I just hadn't charted it, and then I kept just having to get on the break because I didn't know where resistance actually was. So then I'm thinking, get in on the break of this white, because that one kind of kept becoming the first signal. If you look like right here, breaking that white, breaking this white. So yeah, potentially there. But yeah, it's just hard on a tight range day like this. It really is. So when it's tight range and I do well, that's why I'm so stoked. Like it was on Friday, because this was just trash all day, and I was able to. I only had like one red trade through all this, and then I was able to make a nice green day out of it. Maybe it was pretty small, but I was able to recover and get some green just on that last move. Today, like, there were some nice trades. It just, yeah, I can't be greedy. I gotta be happy with profits, because this trade right here, just coming down from right here to here, was like 20-something%. That would have helped tremendously. Maybe I would have had a clear head to not try and FOMO into getting into this one, seeing that this was on a selling channel. I don't know. So anyways, that's what I got. Sub up, like up, comment down, happy my 6th round. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, peace out.